Hi. Well, here we are on Lynher, the only operating Tamar sailing barge. There is another sailing barge up the river. She's not quite ready yet, but at the moment we've got Lynher. She's an inside barge, as they call it, which is a barge built to work on the rivers of Plymouth, between the breakwater and as far up as you can get, really. Just to sort of give you a little tour around, at the back here we've got the gallows, the Plymouth gallows they're called, the cross member here with the main sheets on. That's the main boom there. We've got tiller steering. Here is the tiller. She's quite a heavy beast to manage, so we've got a big tiller, great big barn door of a rudder on the back. It does throw you around a bit, this thing. Cleats there for the main sheet and some fair leads we put across the back. If we just come up along here, I'll just show you what we've got here. Well, this is our engine control. That's just like a tube to get ventilation down into the engine and some controls. We've got a diesel engine control on this side, and the other side is an electric engine. So we're sort of a hybrid system at the moment. And then next to there you've got a barrel strapped on the deck, which is to supply fresh water to the after heads downstairs. Up here we've got the sweep, which is, it's not quite a gimmick. We have used it a few times. It's the sort of thing that would have been on board back in the day. They might have had two of those, plus some poles. I think they used to pole the boat along as well, especially farther up the river where it's quite shallow. This is the hatch. You can see the canvas cover over all the hatch. We've got 18 hatch boards under there. So when they were loading cargo, that would be cleared away, and that's then one big opening into the hold. The crane, which is not on board at the moment, would be rigged using the rigging for the mainsail, and they use the peak halyard and the throat halyard to lift the crane up, and then they would bring the whip down to the donkey winch, which is on the bow there. We'll have a look at that. Just trying to tuck these things away.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yep, cool. Just a few bits and bobs. We've got fender board, that's what that's doing on there. And then the rigging on the side here, the side stays. She doesn't have backstays. Very interesting for a boat with this size of rig. There are no backstays, there are no running backstays, which you would expect. She's got 3 shrouds either side, and they are swept back. The foremost one is in line with the mast, and then the after 2 are supporting the mast from behind. The reason for having it like that is so that you don't interfere with the lanyards if you need to bring the mast down. The mast is on a tabernacle, and with well, you need a shear leg against the front of the hatch up to the forestay, and a very powerful purchase coming to the donkey winch if you're to. I think Charlie did do that. I've seen photographs of Charlie operating that. We've got all that system, but to be fair, I haven't used it, not without having a crane on the shore to support it as well. Interesting, one of them, if you look at the rigging on the side here, I don't know if we've got enough time for all that.
Absolutely you have, yeah.
Most of this, in fact, I would say you've got half either side. The first set of ropes here that are in my hand are all to do with the topping lift. We've got 2 topping lifts. The boom is massively heavy, and I worry like mad that we need to be able to control the weight. So we've got purchase going to a Burton, which then goes to the wire, which is the topping lift and supporting the boom. And the other side is replicated. It's the same on both sides. And I brought the topping lifts. You'll see that they're right at the front. In fact, they're very far forwards, which is reducing the strain on the mast. Instead of bending the mast back, it's compressing the mast, which is slightly better. Like I say, this is the donkey winch, which would be used for moving the boat, maybe if you're far up the river trying to pull her forwards a little bit, or for loading and unloading cargo. That's her main job. The staysail you can see there, just lashed up a bit, ready to be used. Out the front here, you've got your bowsprit. We have this, like I say, it's a simple cutter rig, so we'd have a flying jib on that would go from the end of the bowsprit. Then we've got the staysail here and the mainsail. That's the rig. Here we've got the fantastic anchor winch, made in Glasgow, like they all seem to be. The forehatch down to the crew's quarters. It's very steep down there, and it's a surprisingly long way down as well. It's quite interesting how a boat this size, certainly an old gaff rig boat like this, of this age, when you would mostly you'd have perhaps a third of the hull is above the water and 2/3 are below the water, with a ballast keel and so on. Lynher is not built like that. She's a flat bottom boat. She doesn't have any ballast keel or any ballast at all, and probably 2/3 of the boat are out of the water and a third, so she's very shallow. So sailing Lynher when she's not ballasted like this is, as you can imagine, it's the same sort of experience as sailing a rowing boat. So we do a lot of sideways. I think all the evidence that we've got of these boats sailing, when you see a barge fully rigged up and powered up going down the river, you can tell by the freeboard that they are very loaded. I mean, she's probably got 20 or maybe even more, but certainly for Lynher, she's got a 20-ton hold. So with that, she would be pressed down into the water quite a bit more, and that's where she would get the grip for sailing. So they wouldn't have moved these boats, certainly not down this end of the river, they wouldn't have moved them unballasted. In those days, without motors and so on, it would have been recipe for disaster. Down here we've got a companionway that we've put in. So obviously to make Lynher into a boat that we can operate with people, because nowadays people are the cargo, she still has to earn her keep. So we've made a companionway through that's going down into the hold. So one of the hatchboards is off, and that's a much nicer, a much more user-friendly companionway. And then the rigging on this side, like I said before, we have the topping lift at the front. Then you've got a throat halyard, and then you've got the hardener, or the purchase for the peak halyard. Both halyards are double-ended, but we've not found a need for a hardener on the throat halyard. It's quite smooth. It's quite a smooth pull for the throat halyard, and in fact we've got a tack downhaul. So if I need tension in the luff, we would just use that instead. It's a bit simpler, and it's not looking very tidy, but it's in use. What else can I say? We've got, what else have we got here? Wedges. Very special wedges that are cut to a very exact slope that are for keeping the hatch cover watertight. And that's about us, I think.
Thank you very much. It's a lovely day on her today. Thank you for your
It's really not. Oh no, it's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure to have you guys on here. You know.
Thank you.